Gang, gang, what up? It's your boy JT, Eagles Talk from Delco. On the day after, man, it was a really slow day here in the Philly area, man. Got up this morning, surprisingly, went to sleep, was able to get a decent amount of sleep. Went into work my normal time, no traffic out. I know they had inside in the city, they had a 2-hour delay, on the premise that the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl. So the kids weren't out for school. So, pretty much had the road to myself, on the way to my stops. But man, it was like everything was just in slow motion. About around 7:30 this morning when the sun came out and just the whole atmosphere. I mean, it was sad. It was sad. And the numbness for me is really starting to wear off. Oh, by the way, let me do this real quick. I was in my bag last night, but let me say right now to the Kansas City Chiefs, amazing job last night. Patrick Mahomes, it was a true warrior, basically playing on one leg, able to gut it out to put his team in position to come back and win that game. Andy Reid, big fella, whose imprint is still very much on our organization and the values that he set. Great job, happy for him. Not last night I wasn't, but, I'm happy for him getting his second Super Bowl. He is definitely one of the all-time best coaches of all time. Definitely the second best coach in this era, only behind Bill Belichick. But great job to them. I can't, that last call that the referees made last night, that just put me in my bag like it did probably pretty much the rest of our fan base. But, Kansas City, they played a straight up, fair and square game. They had a game plan that was like no other. They totally silenced our big time pass rush defense. I know myself included last night, obviously the first person we want to fall on the sword is Jonathan Gannon. And while, yes, he definitely has a big hand, in some of the things that went wrong with the defense. But guys, we also got to hold some of these players accountable. Some of these, big high price tag players. Darius Slay, all those guys on the back end, the miscommunications, the defensive breakdowns, the defensive lines. Now, listen, I know everybody was complaining about the field, but listen, both teams had to deal with it. Can't use that as an excuse. I never, ever thought, when I made my pregame video, all those things that I said, I truly believed, and I still stand by everything I said, in a preview video. I really believe that we are the better team. Or I know we are the better team than Kansas City. But this shows you the importance of coaching. And like I said, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, they had a hell of a game plan. Now, to the naked eye, it may have looked like the Eagles did a good job defensively. It was basically our offense that did the good defensive job on Kansas City in the first half because we kept the ball away from them. The Eagles didn't make a punt one time. But they pretty much were always a step ahead. And, hold on. Take a drink of tea. Sorry about that. But, they had an answer for everything we did because it's more like our defense gave them the answers. This stupid zone defense. Guys running wide open free. These Kansas City receivers are not great. And, for the most part, it's like the same things we were seeing last year, but only this year, they had gotten a lot better at them. But the thing is, every time we come up against an elite quarterback, these things really rear their ugly head. We saw it when Dak lit the defense up and hung 40 on us. We saw it when Aaron Rodgers, hung up a good amount of points. And then even the kid that came in for him, I think threw a touchdown pass in that game. And we were able to burn the clock out, not to let him back on the field. But these issues I honestly don't know. You know, I can't make it work in my mind how Jonathan Gannon can come back because you had all the personnel. Howie Roseman gave you everything you needed. He gave this entire coaching staff everything they needed to win the Super Bowl. It was all right there. So if you can't do it with this talent, I mean, how can you come? How can he come back? I mean, does anybody know the answer? I mean, how can he possibly come back after what happened last night? How's it going to get better? You can't say, oh, well, I could see if we were just getting by with like maybe a bummy safety or halfway decent defensive lineman, this, that, and the third. You say, oh, well, if we sign a free agent or we go draft a guy, maybe if he had better personnel. No, he had all the personnel he needed. And for them to come out like that and just lay an egg like that, I mean, I never, ever. If we were going to, I thought this was definitely an in the bag game. Even in going against Kansas City, I thought this game was in the bag for us because we were the better team. And if we were to lose the game, I didn't think it was going to be because of the defense. I mean, they didn't make not one single play last night. That irked me so bad. I mean, even in my sleep, I think I can actually hear myself last night talking in my sleep saying, how did we lose that game? Not one batted down pass, not one stop in that second half, But again, credit to Kansas City's offensive line. They probably got tired of hearing the last 2 weeks about how good the Eagles' offensive line is and hearing about this pass rush that has 70-plus sacks and they're going to do this and do that. We got our defense handed to us last night. I mean, in front of the entire world. That's, like I said, I got so much, going on. I'm trying to keep it on one subject, but, with so many things coming up. Got the combine coming up in a couple weeks. They're going to have to start making decisions on which free agents they want to keep. I myself right now, I'm not totally there yet, looking at the list, seeing who I want back and who I don't care if they let walk or whatever. Maybe in a few days or so. I figure by Wednesday, I think I'll totally be fine again. That move past it, it's over. But this really sucks, man. We haven't felt this in a long, long time. I mean, I was just thinking to myself earlier, in the last 10 months, like all my favorite teams that I love, like I'm a North Carolina Tar Heels fan in basketball. So I saw my North Carolina Tar Heels lose in a national title game against Kansas. I saw the Phillies lose against the Houston Astros in the World Series. Though I wasn't really upset about that because that was like a surprise run and it just came out of nowhere. And now the Philadelphia Eagles, which I definitely thought was going to be the one to pull one through. So I'm just saying it now. 76ers, I have no energy for y'all. I don't know what y'all going to do when playoffs come. I have no energy to give y'all. I'm spent. But, anyway, it just hurts. I mean, you see how long it takes to get back to this point. For some of you, young people, I was, maybe 4 years old, 1980, when they went to the Super Bowl. So I don't even recall, knowing about it at the time. But knowing from 1980, it took until 2004 to get back to the Super Bowl. And when we lost that year, I'm thinking, all right, well, we'll be back next year. But then, you saw how that went, all the problems with T.O. and how that whole thing totally went to shit. And it took us 13 years to get back to the Super Bowl. We finally pulled through in 2017. Now, it only taken us 5 years to get back to this point and blow it, but when's it going to be the next time? You never know. So this is why it is so important, especially in a down year like it was in the NFL. And quite possibly, we could maybe even be saying the same thing next year, because if you really look at it, Jalen Hurts is the cream of the crop of the quarterbacks in the NFC. I don't care what no one says. I would probably put Dak second. But after that, the NFC is not a world beater, and it will not be for a very long time. You know, history, with the Patriots being an exception, history says, you know, the Super Bowl loser doesn't make it back to the Super Bowl the very next year. And like I said, you know, we're going to get into it further down the line. I promise I'm going to be making more videos. I know I say this a lot, but I'm definitely going to be making more videos, you know, talking about things, you know, and looking at the off season. But what I do know is it's going to be really hard, you know. Well, history says it's really hard to make that run back. But as I just said, you know, the NFC is still kind of down. We're not going to have the team we had this year. This is another reason why it just stings to lose that game last night. But, you know, we'll see. We have 2 first-round draft picks. You know, we have more capital. And then to think about it, you know, the free agents, you know, we'll be playing a comp pick game next year. Depending on how many big free agents we lose this year, it'll go to the comp formula for the 2024 season. And we also we got the Saints second round pick in 2024 too. Don't forget that. So we got a lot of draft capital. And I know the Eagles are about to pay Jalen, so they're going to need, you know, these draft picks. And you know, we'll retool and we'll see what happens. But like I said, I don't want to get into it. You know, I just got off of work about maybe an hour ago. I wanted to do this video. I hope everybody's hanging in there. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I mean, it gets you like all up in here where you get this feeling, just know, like you just like, man, is this really life? Did this really happen? But eventually it'll dissolve. It'll go away. I mean, I still love this team. Proud of these guys. You know, Jalen Hurts, I mean, it just makes my heart smile. You know, we got a legitimate bona fide franchise quarterback for years to come. So I'm going to leave it right there, guys. I hope everybody's, you know, doing well or about as well as you can do. I'm going to do a video tomorrow when I get off. So, you know, hang in there, guys. Fly, Eagles, fly. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out.